So tip number 3 is about giving each other constructive feedback. And so I will name this like, constructive feedback versus, negative criticism. Most often, as we get deeper into a relationship and as time passes by, we tend to kind of ignore and take each other for granted. We don't kind of compliment each other, or we don't appreciate, because we say, oh, what's there to appreciate? It's obvious. It's obvious that she cooks well. It's obvious that she's a great mom. So why do I have to tell her? What's the need to tell her? So, or, why do I have to tell him that he looks good? So I just want to highlight this, that, time to time, I think feedback helps all of us, and all of us need feedback. And they say there is this scientific experiment called knowledge of results. The more we rely on feedback, and we are open to feedback, and we are open to what people, we definitely improve our performance. So similarly, even in a marriage, in a committed relationship, time to time, constructive feedback to each other is an extremely important tool to kind of stay on track, to kind of get motivated, so that both of you are driven to kind of really, work on the marriage, and not feel, not take each other for granted, rather. So constructive feedback means that you appreciate what is there, and you honestly should also be able to communicate to your partner whatever you think is critical or is needs improvement. So that is how I'd like to put needs improvement. And there is a tone for it. So once you most often in our routine, when we are into a rut, on the go, we are like exchanging and having these conversation transactions, and during these transactions we don't realize what our tone is, how we are speaking. We are not watching, and we are not too mindful of our words, and we are not too involved into that moment. We are just about very spontaneously saying things. That's fine, but then you should also be separately removing time to sit with your partner and give each other constructive feedback. It can be about how the spending habits of the other partner, or it can be about how the person is managing the home or the entire show, or it can be about certain habits that you think needs improvement. So giving constructive feedback is different from expectation management. In expectation management, in the previous tip that I spoke to you about, there you are actually just talking about what you think is right, and what you want, how you want to be treated, and what are your expectations. And in constructive feedback, you are giving the feedback, you are giving your insights about your partner's actions, thoughts, and whatever's happening with your partner. So on the other hand, when your partner's trying to give you a constructive feedback, it's very, very important to have this generosity in listening, generosity of heart, to understand that someone who loves you is trying to say this to you. Maybe there may be a point, there may not be a point. It may be rational, it may just be irrational. But the first step is to listen to your partner intentionally and mindfully, and absorb what they're trying to say, and then try to see if that feedback can definitely be useful or helpful to you or no. So constructive feedback versus critical, you can say, taunting and all. And another thing is constructive feedback versus this pleasing attitude. Most of us, again, we feel so intimidated with our partners, or we do not like the consequences. Okay, if I tell her the truth, she might not like it, and then my mood will be upset, and the entire climate of the house or of our home changes. So I don't want to tell her what's the truth. So I don't want to get into that confrontation mode. So if you're going to have this all time, I want to please my spouse attitude, even that is not going to help, because your partner is totally oblivious to what you're thinking and what you really want. And after a certain time, this this pleasing, you won't be able to please for long. There will be a point when your husband, your spouse will also be able to understand that the other person is faking it and it's not true. And then then the paranoia sets in, and then the I don't trust you kind of attitude sets in. So don't say things to please your partner all the time. Be a friend, be your partner's best friend, and be honest and be transparent, and care for your partner when you give a feedback. Don't give a feedback without thinking. Give a constructive feedback. Don't just try to please, or don't be overcritical of your partner. So I know many couples where they are extremely critical, like they will never appreciate their partners directly on their face. They, if your wife is a very good cook, so and your friends are saying, oh wow, your wife she cooks very nicely and she's a great cook. So and if your wife's around listening to this comment, you just keep quiet. You don't say anything. Oh yes, she does. But when she leaves into the kitchen, or she's not there in the room, and if this comment comes and you are like all gaga, yes, she's a wonderful cook and she cooks this and all, but before her you are like totally on the guard that I'm not going to praise her too much. That typical attitude where most of us have, that if we praise our kids too much, they'll get spoiled. So I'm sorry, this doesn't work. It doesn't work with the kids, and it doesn't work with adults as well. So I want you to try this out, that give constructive feedback. Mind your language, mind your tone. Dedicate and allocate a separate time to talk this out, rather than just talking on the go. And do write to me and do comment. And again, all these tips are age-proof of your relationship. I mean, no matter what is the length and the strength of your relationship, these tips, if you start applying them, they will be useful. Thank you.